Guys, it's Amanda, the traveling realtor, and I am traveling. I am here in gorgeous Portugal, and I'm going to be showing you some amazing properties that you may just want to invest in. Hey guys, I am here in Portimao, and this is an absolutely amazing community. I don't know if you can hear the racetrack. There's race cars literally right there. This community is awesome. It's 160 units. My friend actually bought 118 of those units, and he has 50 of them available for sale. They range from 1 bedrooms all the way up to 3 bedrooms, and they are starting at, get this, 155,000 euros, which is completely unheard of in this area. That is why I'm bringing this opportunity, and I'm gonna show you all about this project right now. So this is the view that you get from the condos. This is gorgeous. This is actually the highest mountain here in the Algarve, and it is musique. It is amazing. There's waterfalls, there's hiking trails, there's tons of restaurants up there, and the water is so good, they actually bottle it directly out of the mountain. It's a 9.5 pH. You guys know I love that because I am into the health and wellness, and this has just really stolen my heart. Of course, you have a beautiful community pool here at the condos that we're showing you today, but you are also less than 30 minutes from over 100 miles of gorgeous golden coastline. You've got over 34 golf courses around here, and it's just a wonderful location. Also, we have the West Coast here, which again is less than 30 minutes away, and this is an area of coastline that's really known for its nature preserve. It's more rugged, it's more wilderness. You can't really build over there. There's not hotels, but there are boutique hotels and Airbnbs. A lot of people go to this particular area because they love the surfing. There's some big waves there. It's known for yoga. And if you know me, I like that kind of stuff too. So I think you should check out the West Coast as well. Okay, so I am here in the lovely hotel here at this community that I've been showing you, and I'm super honored to introduce you to one of my new friends. We are both in the Tony Robbins Platinum Partner Program, and as most of you know, I was in Zambia in Africa on a safari adventure trip with our Tony Robbins Platinum Program, and I met Chris like the last night there, and he said, you must come to Portugal and you must see what I have going on in Portugal. And I said yes, because I was very intrigued at the fact that he has a lot of companies, but the one that really intrigued me was a property management company of over 200 properties. And so I really wanted to come and see what he had going on, and he's been showing me some of his properties and his projects and all of his companies. And so I wanted to introduce my audience to Chris today. So, hi Chris.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
It's kind of crazy. We're sat in Africa, and then all of a sudden we're in Portugal. And it just feels like that, doesn't it?
It sure does. Everything happens for a reason, and I believe in following the universe, right? And the universe told me, go to Portugal.
Thank you so much.
So I've had an interest in Portugal real estate, and I know a lot of my viewers have as well. I've been questioned a lot about Portugal, and I know nothing about Portugal until today. And so I would love for you to tell us just a little bit about how Portugal real estate works.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, it's really straightforward. My background, as we kind of touched on a little bit yesterday, was I sold property in 23 different countries. And I picked Portugal because it's the safest place, in my opinion, for people to buy. So it's straightforward. It's a freehold property. You come across, spend some time with us. That's what we like to do. Show you around, or choose any realtor in the area. There's some really friendly ones out there. Spend some time, see which properties really match your criteria. and you reserve the property. And then I would always recommend taking finance. So because the interest rates are super low. I know in the States they're around 6-7%.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can borrow money here at 3 to 4%. So it's super low.
And that actually really intrigued me because as we were talking, Americans can get a loan here without having residency.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it's open to pretty much any non-residents. So you can borrow between, 70% is easy to borrow, if not 80%. Because I'm a resident, I can borrow 90%. So the rates are super low. The terms are between 35 to 40 years. So you can go, I think the US is 30 years.
Yep.
So we can do higher. I've taken 40-year mortgages before, and the rates are super low. So it's pretty straightforward. We have our own mortgage brokers in-house, so we can take care of everything for you.
And that's another reason why I wanted to introduce you to my audience, because I'm big in one-stop shops, right? Buying turnkey rental properties. So with Chris, he literally has all of the businesses, all of the companies under one umbrella. So not only can you buy a property from him, but you can get the mortgage through him, and you can have your property managed through him for vacation rentals, and you can do the currency exchange. And I think you have other companies as well under that umbrella, right?
Yeah, so we can help you finance it, rent it out, furnish it. So, one of my claim to fame is we've got a client from Australia. He's never been here, and he brought over the phone, trusted us, brought over the phone, rents the property out, and he's never been here. It's a pure investment. He might use it in the future because he likes Portugal as well. He says he does. So, that can get a little bit nerve-wracking, but we've got a full team of people, and they can really help and hold your hand through the full process.
Yeah, and even a construction company in case anything goes wrong, right?
Yes. Yep. We've been doing construction here in Portugal since 2014. We won the Developer of the Year award in 2015, which was just amazing. So little small projects, and then we're going towards larger projects, which are exciting.
So in America, we have real estate agents and we have real estate brokers.
Yes.
So is it the same here? And what are the qualifications for that? Is there a license in Portugal?
They're extremely strict. When I first came here back in 2009, it took 9 months to get the real estate license for the company. So they're super, super strict. It's one of the hardest places to sell real estate. So I would always check that people have got that real estate license, but it's a safe place to invest. So the government make it safe and easy. The law is on the buyer's side very firmly. So if you enter into an agreement and you put down a 10, 20 or 30% deposit, if the seller pulls out, they have to pay you double the money back. So it's a really safe place to buy. Like I say, I've travelled, I've sold property in 23 different countries. This is the safest place to buy. It's perhaps not the most interesting when it comes to variety of properties because the market's quite limited. There's only maybe 15,000 properties maximum for sale in the Algarve right now. So demand is super thin on the ground. There's not many big developments. So the downside to Portugal, because I want to tell you both things, is there's not a wide choice. You have to kind of take what you're given, but what you're given is beautiful. Big, huge properties, 100 square metre minimum, usually the 2-bed apartments, well priced, amazing beaches. It's just beautiful. There's so much I could sit here and tell you all day about Portugal. I never run out of things to say. So.
And I've been here for less than 24 hours, and I am already falling in love. Chris took me to the beach. It's gorgeous. So speaking of people coming here, what does your vacation rental market look like?
Our vacation rental market usually runs, December is Christmas time. The weather's usually nice and warm, you perhaps wouldn't wear shorts in the day. Some people do. Yeah. But you wear long pants in the day, maybe a little jacket for the evening, and it's busy for Christmas. They're big into Christmas, big into Santa, big into celebrations, some music, lots of little festivals. January is very quiet. A lot of people, businesses close, they go to Brazil, and they have their little break, and it's summer in Brazil, they go to party. Then they bring the party back in February. and we have carnivals, and they are crazy. So if you go to Lule Carnival, that's amazing. So fantastic. Loads of little carnivals everywhere. So the rentals really pick up. So you get 1 or 2 weeks in February, then in March you get your golfers, in April, golfers and the Easter break, or spring break, I think that's the terminology. So that gets busy. And then from June right the way through to September, our properties were at 100% occupancy. And that's not uncommon. So it's really busy. That's where you make the majority of your money. And then September, golfers. October, half-term holidays. November, it's quiet. So we normally do longer-term rentals, 30 days. And then back to December. So rental yields usually between, if you've got a swimming pool, it's easy to expect 5 to 7%. If you go down to Lagos, some of the bigger developments we've done down there, like 40, 50 units, they're getting 10, 12, 14% rental yields. So it's impressive.
So it sounds like this area of Portugal is pretty much a year-round rental market.
Yeah, I always say to the clients, your first year, or maybe 2, just allow a little bit of money just to make it safe for yourself. Moving into year 3, that's when it cash flows. As long as you've got that swimming pool, that's the most important thing. Everyone loves a swimming pool.
Get yourself a swimming pool. That's your tip for today. Get yourself a swimming pool in Portugal. Okay, so another question. I obviously am from America. A lot of my audience is from America. And whenever we purchase a home, depending on the state within the United States, we either use an escrow or we use an attorney.
Yes.
So how does it work here?
Okay, so we always say use an attorney. The terminology is use a lawyer. So we happily recommend a trusted lawyer. The company we use here are simply the biggest, the best. We've used them now for 14 years. And I used them previously in Spain, they're international. Mm-hmm. So we'd introduce you to that particular lawyer, a lovely lady called Marissa. She's so friendly and helpful. She helps me on a daily basis sometimes. I would say interview her, check that you're comfortable with her. If you're not, then obviously go and pick someone yourself. Mm-hmm. But the process is usually they'll have a Zoom meeting with you or a face-to-face meeting and really hold your hand through the process. But it's very safe. In Portugal, you'll pay your €6,000 to take the property off the market. Usually 21 days later, you'll pay a 20 or 30% deposit. And then usually if the property's built, 6 to 8 weeks later, the bank turn up, you've gone through the mortgage process. We're there to help you through that full process. You sign the deed, you don't even need to go. They'll do it all for you, and you'll just simply get the keys. And we'll keep the keys at our office for you until you're ready to come. We'll get it furnished for you. You'll arrive in Portugal. We'll even put bread, sugar, milk in the fridge. We'll do shopping for you before you arrive, and you'll stay in your property. It's that easy.
That's awesome. So you mentioned the $6,000 to take it off of the market.
Yes.
So in North Carolina, which is where I'm actually from, and I own my business there, that's called a due diligence fee for us. So it's a non-refundable fee. Is it the same here?
No, it's fully refundable.
Okay.
So that money goes to the attorney, and then if at any stage you change your mind or something flags up, then you'll get that money back in full.
Awesome. And then how long does it usually take from I found a property, I'm ready to buy, to I can move into my house now?
So the fastest we've done it as a company is about 3 days.
3 days?
Yes.
Wait, that's without a mortgage.
That's without a mortgage. That's without
What about with a mortgage?
With a mortgage, the average lead time, excluding the summer, because a lot of people take the summer off, I would say it would be about 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Yes.
And whenever you're going into closing, just to kind of think about how much money do I need to have up front. So you're thinking maybe 20 to 30% down payment, and then about how much would you be paying in closing costs, the taxes, the fees, the transfer, all of that?
Yeah, if you say to yourself, I'll allow for 10% of the purchase price, you'll always get 2 or 3% change. So it depends on the purchase price. But I always like to say, worst case scenario, allow for 10%. And that includes everything, your lawyer's fees, your notary fees. That's based on you taking a mortgage as well. So.
And you mentioned something earlier, Chris, about the mortgage. And if you are investing in a pre-construction project, then there's some type of bank guarantee. So if I went and put my 20% down and the project didn't go through, then how does that work with the bank guarantee? Like, how am I protected?
Yeah, so a bank guarantee in Portugal is not compulsory. We like the developers to have a bank guarantee, so to make it safe for you. So, and that simply is an insurance policy. Only costs about €300. And if the developer went bankrupt, wasn't able to complete on the property, your money's safe. So it's just an insurance policy.
Okay, so another question that I always get from people who are looking at investing internationally is, well, if I buy international real estate, will I actually own the land?
Yes, I've come across this so many times in so many different countries. In Portugal, you'll own, if it's a condo, you'll own a share of the land. Everything's freehold. Leasehold is almost non-existent here. And if you buy a villa, you own the land. So no one can take that away from you.
Okay, that is great to know. So speaking of buying a condo, we are here at your project.
Thank you.
In Portimão.
Yeah, Portimão.
And there are 50 units available.
Yes.
So if someone were to want to buy here, what would that process look like?
So it involve a phone call or a Zoom call. So we're loving, using Zoom. I have a Zoom call with one of my gurus, my property advisors. They're brilliant. They're fantastic. I mean, some of them have been with me before I even started the company. So they're amazing people. They'll take you through the full process. So that's first Zoom call, especially with like Sasha, usually lasts about an hour. So, and he'll go through the full process. He'll show you some of the videos that we've got. We can take you more in depth, show you the properties that are available, answer all them important questions. And then if you want to go a little bit further than that, you can set up meetings with a tax advisor, the mortgage broker, the lawyer, the currency expert, the rentals expert, and you'll go through them 5 processes. And then at the end, you simply just say, I'm in, or it's not for me.
Wonderful. I love how, like I said, everything is in-house. It's a beautiful thing. So I know we're going to be talking with Sasha here in a few minutes, and that's who I'm probably going to be referring the majority of the business coming in for this. So for here, what do you see the biggest opportunity? Because we're here at this racetrack. You've bought, obviously, 118 of these units, and you have some really big plans for this project.
Yes.
So do you want to tell us a little bit more about that? I mean, for one, I love the fact of we have a huge mountain over here, so I could do all my hiking. We have 2 different coastlines. Like, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's mountains. It's beautiful. So what are some opportunities here for someone who's looking to invest?
As soon as I found out they were up for sale, I quickly ran the numbers, and you can't build these properties again. Price per square meter. The bank came to me and said, do you want to buy them? And at first it was a little bit nerve-wracking, 118 units, but we've got the experience. We've got the rentability experience. We know the challenges that are going to come up, and it's exciting. I mean, it's fun. I mean, this place we're going to be having conferences here. Straight away, as soon as we walked in, we went, weddings. And so weddings, conferences, everything should be happening up here. It's a sports complex. It is the racetrack, but it's more than that. And we can see that straight away.
Absolutely, it's so much more than that. And you do have the racetrack, so you're already attracting all of the racers who are coming in. I think you said a lot of commercials are being filmed here. And then there's also some pretty large races that are hosted here as well.
Yeah, I mean, this has had the F1 before, which is massive, the F1. Then it's had the MotoGP. One of my favorites is the vintage car racing. And they start right from the early 1900s. They've got the goggles on, they've got no exhaust pipes, and they're going around the racetrack. And then they bring in the 1980s. It goes right the way up. It's like a 90s disco. And they bring in the F1 race cars that have 2,000 brake horsepower, no ABS, and they're doing spins in the circuit. I mean, the racetrack is just amazing. I'm going to have to take you down there and take you around next time we're here.
Let's go. So, Chris, why should people really take a good look at this project?
The biggest thing, I mean, it's a hands-off investment. It's fully furnished. It's easy. It's ready to go. You'll need to have some patience with it because it's this racetrack's still a new thing in Portugal. So it's taken some time to get some traction and add in all the events. But they're really coming along. I mean, this is the place to be right now. So I would say you're buying here because it's low value, low money down. You can finance it. You can use it as a holiday home. You can come here for 3 or 4 weeks. You can pass it out to your friends or your family. You own it, which is really important. You physically own this property. You can get finance on it. You can get in here for be like a great start of investment, or just add one to your portfolio. Totally hands off.
And it's exciting because you're getting in on a ground floor opportunity, and there's nothing else in this area for this amount of money.
No. I mean, the future of this area is there's some more plots for sale. There'll be more apartments built in the future, but you can't. I mean, price per square meter to build is, I'm getting quotes of between 1,800 and 2,200 per square meter. So a 100 square metre apartment is going to be 180,000 plus the land cost, plus everything, all the other costs in there. You can't build 2-bed apartments for less than 250. So if you get them for 189, it's a bargain. And that's why I brought them all.
So Chris, you've bought 118 of these condos here. So what was another attraction? Like, why did you buy so many?
Yeah, so one big thing is the rentals are so easy here because it's under a touristic rental license. So it's an attraction for the area. It's slightly different than just buying one unit. So it's effectively a hotel. So it's fully managed, it's easy. Yeah, it's just nice and easy.
So I know many of you, as I am, would be interested in maybe a little bit more information about this project. So I'm actually going to put Sasha's information right here below us. And so you can reach out to him with any of your questions, and we will get you hooked up on your investment property or maybe your retirement property here in Portugal. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today and
Thank you so
showing
much.
me beautiful Portugal.
It's been wonderful showing you around. Wish we had more time, I'd show you more.
I'll be back.
Yes, you need to.
So I've had to bring in Sasha, who is the senior property consultant for Ideal Homes, because we have some more questions about buying here in Portugal. So one thing that's came up is the touristic license. So can you explain what is that?
Sure.
And why is that important?
Sure. So this development is managed like a hotel, and it has what's called a touristic license. It's basically a global license, and there is an entity in place, a management team in place on site that manages the properties on behalf of the clients. And if you want to rent that property out, then you need to use the management team in place to do that for you. But they're experts at it. They've been doing it for a number of years. So you can kind of decide what number of weeks or months you want to hand over to them, and then they will rent it out on your behalf, and then they will disperse the profits to you directly at the end of the year. So it's a rather simple thing, and you know, for investor clients that are looking at just buying a property and want to just forget about it and just receive their rental income, it's an easy way of doing it, because they just don't need to worry about anything. All the cleaning is done, all the laundry is done, the changeover is handled all by the management team in place. So it's just a very simple way of doing things.
It's turnkey, and you know I always talk about buying turnkey properties, and to me this is truly turnkey because it is simple.
Yeah.
And you also don't have to worry about the short-term rental regulations changing the laws, right? With Airbnb, sometimes you can't Airbnb in a city, and so you're getting around all of that with this. So I think that's really great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about Americans buying here.
Mm-hmm.
What if an American were to purchase a property here? Mm-hmm. How long could they stay here legally without having to become maybe a resident or getting a visa? How does that work?
So it's very simple. All that, you don't need any special visa. You just have a visitor's visa, which allows you to spend 3 months in any 6-month period in Portugal. It doesn't have to be in one block, it can be staggered, but it's just very simple. It can't be more than 3 months across a 6-month period, and then it refreshes for the next 6-month period. So that's the standard way. So if you're not looking at spending any substantial time in Portugal, you really don't need anything other than a standard visitor's visa, which you will get automatically when you're traveling to Portugal.
And what about this golden visa that everyone is talking about?
Well, the Golden Visa is a visa that allows you to spend as little or as much time in Portugal as you want. At the present time, it's a minimum of 14 days a year. You get the Golden Visa for a period of 5 years, and that allows you to travel freely throughout the Schengen area, which is the vast majority of the European Union, and also Switzerland and Iceland. And you can just spend as little or as much time as you want in those countries. In order to get the Golden Visa, under the present regulations, you need to purchase a property, and if we're talking about the Algarve specifically, or any coastal region, it has to be within a touristic license development. So this would apply for that. You would need to spend a minimum of 400,000 euros. It doesn't have to be one property, it could be a multiple properties, but it has to be a minimum 400,000 euros, and it has to be a cash purchase. It can't be on a mortgage. You could purchase something or multiple units, which, for example, let's say you're buying 3 units and they're costing in total 600,000. You could get the mortgage for the difference, but the first 400,000 euros is in cash, and then that simply allows you to spend as much or little time in Portugal or in the Schengen area, and then after 5 years, you qualify for Portuguese citizenship, or if you prefer it, permanent residency.
And with the Golden Visa, I know a lot of people are talking about it, but I've heard that it's about to be done.
It is, and the rules are being discussed right now in the Portuguese Parliament, and it seems to be a done deal in the sense that the current rules are definitely going to be changing, and they'll probably be changing by the end of July. So, the end of August, I beg your pardon, the end of August. So if you are interested in the Golden Visa, you've basically got to purchase the property in the next few days. And providing you put in your Golden Visa application before that termination date, then there won't be any retroactive cancellation of the application.
Guys, don't freak out. You do not have to have the Golden Visa to purchase property here. There's actually, if you are looking for residency, you can get, there's another visa.
There's another visa called the D7 visa, and that is a visa where you're looking at spending a considerable amount of time in Portugal. And in fact, the requirement is that you must spend a minimum of 6 months in Portugal. And you need to either own a property or actually have a long-term rental contract. Either of those would qualify you in principle for getting the D7 visa. But also you need to be demonstrating a minimum amount of passive income, non-earned income. But this is really minimal requirements. It's something around the 1,200 euros for the principal buyer, and then for their partner is something like 800 euros. This is per month, and then for the children a little bit less. So it's the minimal requirements, but it doesn't work for someone who is earning principally their income, from a job or from self-employment. It's for passive income, so it's more for retirees rather than people who are actively in employment.
So a lot of people are interested in Portugal because of the health benefits. Mm-hmm. So what do you need to have in order to qualify to have the health benefits here?
Well, if you have a D7 visa, you will be paying into the Social Security system, which would allow you to obviously to have the same rights as a Portuguese individual. But also another thing to understand, it's good to know, is that private healthcare here is very cheap, relative to the US. And I can give myself as an example. So I pay 85 euros a month on private healthcare with a company called Allianz. It's a large multinational company. And that entitles me to 90% discounts on seeing the doctor, any sort of blood work, any sort of analysis that I want to do, so significant discount. And then if I wanted to have surgery, I have to pay the first 1,000 euros. So, it's orders of magnitude less than it would be in the US. And that includes, for example, medication. So, for example, I had a client of mine that suffers from glaucoma, and they'd run out of their medication, their eye drops, and they went into the local pharmacy, which I found for him, and it cost him €5 for that bottle. In the United States, it would have been, I think, he said, $125. So that's a kind of the massive difference between the US and Portugal when regarding healthcare.
So someone who just owns a property here, I come here for 3 months, and I need to go see a doctor. So would I be able to go to one of the private healthcare doctors and just pay out of pocket?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, for example, if you wanted to see a private doctor, and it would probably cost you around €70, okay? €70 privately. So let me give you an example. So I had lots of analysis done, just standard analysis done from endoscopy, colonoscopy, blood work, X-ray, heart stress test, abdominal ultrasound. All of that together on my private insurance cost me something like €250. And if I had done it without insurance, it would probably cost me €1,500 or something of that nature. So you can see that even without private medical care, it's not particularly expensive, and the doctors and the hospitals are of a very good quality, so you won't feel as if you're getting an inferior service.
Yeah, that's a huge attraction to Portugal.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. That's why we're having so many people wanting to buy, and we're struggling to find places for them to buy, because the building regulations in Portugal are very tight. You can't just sort of build anywhere that you want, right? The majority of the Algarve is agricultural land, and you can't build anything on agricultural land unless there's an existing ruin or existing villa which you can replace. You can knock it down and put in another villa. You can't build anything now within 100 meters of the beach. Whereas, and there's lots of ecological land, the nature reserves, you can't build anything on there at all. And even in urban land designations, which is in towns, whereas in the 80s and 90s, there were 1 or 2 places where you could build 8 or 10-story buildings. Now that's long gone. So, you can't build anything. The town of Lagos, which is about 20 minutes away, you can't build anything more than 5 stories high, maximum. And in some places, only 3 stories high or 4 stories high. So there's a significant deficit of new apartments, new properties available, and we've got so much demand that the property price is obviously rising, and they're rising consistently because of that significant differential.
There's definitely a huge demand. There's a lot of expats moving into Portugal, which we've seen. And I think that I see why now from being here.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I've lived in Portugal now almost 40 years, and I have to tell you that I feel privileged to live here. I don't think I want to live anywhere else in the world. It's a first world country, with an excellent medical service. The people are really nice, hospitable, they're really open to foreigners. Everybody speaks English here. You've got 50 golf courses, you've got a fantastic coastline with award-winning beaches, you've got fantastic restaurants, and relatively cheap. The climate is great. It's a bit like, if we compare it to a place in the US, very much like San Diego. So if you think San Diego, that's the kind of climate that we have in Portugal.
That's a beautiful climate. So, Sasha, is there anything else that you think we should discuss today about Portugal and about buying?
Well, I would say that the most important thing for someone who is considering buying a property in Portugal is how safe it is to buy a property. Everything is regulated. Everything is black and white. There are no corners that can be cut. And you can never buy a property in Portugal with any encumbrances, with any mortgages associated with that property, or any penalties associated with that property. Because, for example, there's a property tax that you have to pay annually. Now, in Portugal, relative to the US, it's ridiculously cheap. You know, for an average property, you're probably paying 600 euros a year in property tax. But of course, if you were buying a resale property and the owner hadn't paid that, that will be registered in the tax office, and both your attorney and the notary have direct access to that tax office. So when you come to complete on the purchase, all debts have to be cleared before you can actually complete on the purchase. So you don't have title insurance in Portugal like you have in the US, because it's a completely unnecessary concept. You can never become an owner of a property unless it's free of any encumbrances. And then all properties in Portugal are freehold properties. That means that they're yours in perpetuity to pass on to your immediate descendants with zero inheritance tax. So, you know, that's obviously a good benefit. And then, of course, you can sell your property to who you want, when you want, at whatever price you want. Yeah.
Man, that is all great information. Thank you so much for coming in today, kind of last minute, answering some questions for us.
You're more than welcome.
I would love to put your information below here for my audience, and in case you guys have any questions about Portugal, what it's like to buy here, just a good conversation with a good Portugal guy here who knows everything about it. So we're going to do that. We're going to connect Sasha to all of you. And I want to thank you as well for tuning in and learning all about buying properties in Portugal. So Chris, you have taken me all around the Algarve.
We've been everywhere.
We're now in Lagos.
It's my favorite place.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
Yep.
And my number one question to you is, what is the mistakes that you see most North Americans make when they're looking at investing in Portugal, or internationally for that matter?
Okay, I mean, for Portugal, I would say is managing your expectations. And there's a lot of things that are very different. I mean, I've traveled a lot in the States. There's a lot of things that are very different. You know, like condo fees over here. People are put off from condos because back home, the condo fees are expensive, you know, 500, 600, 700 a month. Here, they range from 30 to 120 euros a month. The other thing would be property taxes. I know property taxes are a big thing. Property taxes for my house, my personal house, are 330 euros a year. So it's nothing. I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not something you ever pay attention to. So I would say is, you know, you need to do that research, you need that comparison. I mean, what we normally do is we normally bring people here on the ground, take them out for 3 full days. Sounds like a long time, and we really explore the full Algarve in 3 days. And that's what my team does. So it's a hand-holding service. We'll explain all this to you on a one-to-one basis.
That is awesome. And you know what you're talking about, because Chris has sold properties in 22 countries.
23.
23 countries? Okay, probably more than that. So, and you decided on Portugal to be your home and where you want to invest and own a business and help people buying real estate.
Yeah, I mean, it's a safe investment. We lived in Spain for a few years. We lived in France, Austria, Italy, Greece, Australia, New Zealand. Portugal just kept pulling us back. And, you know, it's been my home for 16 years, and I'll live here for the rest of my life. I'll always have a base here.
Gorgeous. All right, well, let's go explore more of Portugal.
Perfect.
See ya.
See ya.
Lagos, and I am with my new friend Terry and her husband Joe, who just moved here, well, 2 years ago from Washington State. And I was really impressed with her story because they moved here without actually ever visiting Portugal. So how do you like it?
We love it. Absolutely love it. No regrets.
No regrets. And so you saw an ad for Ideal Homes Portugal.
Yeah.
And you reached out, and the rest is history.
The rest is history.
You know what really was interesting about your story is they had gone through multiple real estate agents trying to find someone to call them back. I know the feeling because when I moved to Cabo San Lucas 3 years ago, I kind of went through the same thing. It's just not, I don't know, maybe it's not custom, maybe it's not ordinary for someone to return phone calls. So I understand that's kind of how it was here as well.
True, absolutely.
And so you hooked up with Sasha?
Yes. Ideal Homes was doing active marketing during COVID and made it really easy to find a real estate person who talked to us, the builder, everybody was combining their information for us, and we were able to purchase looking at the computer.
And they took care of everything.
Everything.
And so you guys, I mean, obviously they do the rentals, they do the sales, they do the mortgages, they do all of that. But you guys are in buyers, so you're retired here.
We are.
And you're enjoying the insurance here.
We love the healthcare system, the people, the food. Still, Ideal Homes is helpful to us, even though we purchased more than 2 years ago. They haven't forgotten us, so that's good.
That's really important. And it was really nice for me too, to hear their story, knowing that I'm going to be sending a lot of my clients over to Ideal Homes, and just hearing the story. I met one of their other customers as well, and everyone is super happy and just really happy with the level of service that they got with Ideal Homes. So
very true.
We are here in front of one of the Ideal Homes offices. I think they have a few. I think they're going for 6 in the area right here. So yeah, it's just a really great concept, and I really love what Chris has done. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Been a gorgeous day here in Portugal. Thank you so much for coming along on the journey with me today. And if you have any questions about Portugal real estate, feel free to look in the description below and we will get you all of the information needed. And I look forward to seeing you on the next Traveling Realtor video. Bye-bye.